You're supposed to hit.
You're live on YouTube.
We are live on YouTube.
Right down there.
Here we go. I'd like to call the Criminal Justice Committee together, August 23rd, 2021 at 9:06 a.m. We are live on YouTube. We are available by Zoom, and we have a quorum present with Leggett, Shepler, Stroud, Diamond, and Driscoll. A full committee. I'd like to begin the meeting here with the approval of minutes of prior committee meeting. Who can bring that to the floor? Thank you, Supervisor Shepler, second by Supervisor Diamond. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This is, we are working on the district attorney's agenda, so we will call up District Attorney Carasone to present. And as we start, let me put it out there that there are a suite of like requests, and maybe we can do them all collectively.
All set?
But so
Thank you.
you have the floor, Jason.
The first thing, good morning. The first thing you're going to see is 1 and 2 are both requests to make application for certain grants that we've been receiving for years and years. The first one you see is aid to prosecution grant. As you'll see, we don't even know what it will be. What it's been in the past is roughly $38,000, just slightly over that. Aid to prosecution is enhanced. It's supposed to help with enhanced prosecution of violent felons and serious felony offenders. That's one we've been getting for as long as I can remember. Do you want me to just kind of knock these down all the one?
No.
Okay.
Oh, let's just take them right here one at a time. Motion to bring it to the floor. Number 1. Thank you, Supervisor Shepler, second by Supervisor Driscoll. Any discussion on this item? Any questions for the DA? Jason, is there anything else you'd like to add to this one?
It's merely the right to apply. So
Okay.
nothing I want to add on that.
Okay, let's vote on the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries.
Next is a request to apply. This is what's called Crimes Against Revenue Prosecution Grant. We always come around this time of year to make the request. Previous awards have been up to $59,600. This is the grant. It's focused on tax fraud, welfare fraud, Medicaid fraud, unemployment fraud, different financial crimes. And again, it's for the purposes to enhance the prosecution of those cases. We've applied and fortunately received for many, many years now, and we're seeking to apply again for this year.
Motion to bring it to the floor, please. Supervisor Driscoll, second by Supervisor Shepler. Any discussion on these items? Yes, Supervisor
I just have a
Shepler.
quick question. Why is there no amount?
Because the state, when they haven't sent around the applications yet. So when the applications go around, we'll know what we'll have an idea what the potential number is. So we want the permission when it comes out, we want to be able to make the application. If it's for more, we're going to apply for whatever we're eligible for, of course. And then, but it seems like it's been repetitively the same for several years now. That 38,000 on the first one, the 59,600 have been repeatedly the same. We always reach the 38,000. We do not always reach the 59,000. It just depends on the type of cases that we receive.
Thank you.
And you say welfare fraud. Now, do you work with the Department of Social Services on these?
We do. They'll prepare cases. They do investigations, and they'll submit cases. It's case specific, so it's something that it just depends, and it's time specific. So we have to log the time that's being put into these types of cases. We have certain attorneys who are assigned, and so we make sure that if we get that sort of case, it's going to go to that type of attorney. This will lead into where I'm going. We had, for example, our second assistant was on aid to prosecution. She just this morning is starting at the Queens DA's Office Appeals Bureau. So we're going to make a shift to have someone else take in that role.
Thank you. Any other questions? Supervisor McGowan.
You mentioned unemployment fraud.
Yes.
The only reason I brought that up, I got a call from the DA down at Staten Island that someone collected like $43,000. during the pandemic. I said, how did this happen? And they said, I guess it's happened all over the country.
It's been a national issue. I think this county got hit by something along that, or attempted, I would say attempts here. I'm not sure there was any success locally, but people were claiming to be someone who they're not and filing false claims. So if that was a case that was a state prosecution and that our office was involved in, that would be something that would be, CARP would apply to.
Okay. Let's call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None. Motion carries. Number 3.
3 is a request to fill the 9th ADA position. This is the position that just went through the board last Friday. Thank you very, very much. And, you know, we don't have we're not going to be filling it immediately, but we're just requesting the ability to do so when we find the right candidate.
Any particular timeline? I know you want to
No,
do it as
we're
soon as
just gonna-
possible, but
This is also new, so we'll just be doing interviews and hopefully
Okay.
finding somebody good for that.
okay, good. Motion, can we do 3 and 4 together? Because those,
Yes,
We're
floor
both-
4 is the legal clerk position. It's the same thing. We're just requesting permission to fill when we get the right candidate.
so on these 2, these are requests to fill. The funding form was approved. Motion, bring it to the floor. Supervisor Shepler, second by Supervisor Diamond. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None? Motion carries. Now, Jason, you have a whole list here, number 5, 6, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13.
Yeah,
Like you're going through your whole lineup here.
5 through 13, I put a big bracket around because they're essentially, what we do in the DA's office is we have people, first assistant, second, third, fourth, and it goes chronologically. Our second assistant is the one that just left Friday and started her new position in Queens on Monday. Because of that, and she was our appellate attorney, what we're seeking to do is move our staff, our attorney staff, each up 1. But of course, when you move the 3 into the 2, now the 3 is vacant, and now you move the 4 into the 3, now the 4 is vacant, et cetera, et cetera. That's why it looks very involved. But what you've got there is essentially each of those attorneys just going into the next schedule. I should say that 2 of them would
Jason,
be.
hold on one sec. John, I think Paulette has them.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, you got them? Okay. Sorry for the interruption there.
No, that's all right. So what you'll see is each of them, because a couple of years ago, the county went to an attorney grid pay scale. Sometimes moving up doesn't mean a change in salary, and sometimes it does if you're entering a new grade position with new responsibilities. Those that would see a change at this, at this stream are the person going into the 3rd assistant position and the person going into the 5th. And in speaking to the county administrator, we went through the numbers. I think because of the amount of experience and we're losing an experienced person, it looks like actually the net, it's actually a little less expensive than it would have been last Friday once we move forward, just because of the adjustments. Although some individuals will see increases, but some positions will see decreases, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
So all of those through 5 through 13 will show that movement from your former spot, 1 spot up. And if you look at 7 and 10, those are the 2 positions where they're going into a new grade. And so their salary would be adjusted because of that.
Okay. So for the committee, if somebody could bring to the floor, if it's the desire of the committee, to bring 5, 6, 8, 9, 11, 12, and 13 to the floor for a collective decision on this. This is where we're just moving all up. Supervisor Diamond and second by Supervisor Driscoll. Any discussion on these? Is this clear how this is working? Okay, we'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None. Motion carries on 5, 6, 8, 9, 11, 12, and 13. Now let's take a look at 7 and 10 together.
Yeah, so 7 and 10 is because someone's moving into a higher position and more responsibility. It's a different graded position. We just went to that chart and we took the salary from that chart and the current steps, and that's where those figures come, the salaries come from on those, and you'll find those all contained inside of this packet.
Yeah. And Jason, for information, those steps go with your numbers of years of service in the office. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Yep, years of service for Warren County, I believe is how it works.
Okay. So even though you were not in the third position for 5 years, let's say you were in the fourth, now you will come into the third with those 5 or 10 years behind you, and you will be at that step at that grade. Is that correct?
Yes, that's my understanding. So the idea being when when the board passed this was, as you get these attorneys in the system and with the county, you want to retain them. As you know, we've lost some good attorneys, and that's understandable. I know the last one that we lost did see a nice pay increase, which we realize that's part of this, but part of this procedure also is to try to at least let them know that we're trying to retain them and value their service. So as an attorney with 5 years in DA's office is quite valuable. Even 2 years we're finding is people start to look at those and say, well, these people know how to try a case. They have certain experiences that are desirable outside of the office.
Yeah, I would think that ambition would flow the other way, that if you served in someplace like Queens for a while, you'd want to come to Warren County for a while.
I listen, I sing the county's praises, and we've done well. We have an attorney that's been with us 16 years who was from Cortland, and he came here, made a move, and he stayed. So we've had some that have moved. We've got another younger attorney. He came with 2 years experience, came to the county. He's been terrific. He's already doing trials, grand jury, and he's from Long Island, and he's made Warren County his home. So we're up on we've got more coming in than leaving to the city.
Good. So I'd like to see a motion coming from the floor to approve 7 and 10 together. Supervisor Shepler and Supervisor Stroh on the second. Any further discussion on these? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None. Motion for 7 and 10 carried. That brings us up to number 14, I believe.
Yeah, this is the last one. This is we're really looking to update a very old resolution. It came to our attention that the way it was written created an issue we wanted to deal with. I happened to be here back in 2003, so when I saw it, I think I realized what it was. But essentially, we have grand jury, and grand jury transcripts are created. Normally, when you have a transcriptionist in court, that is a function of the court system. They provide the transcriptionist. We, as DA's offices, must provide the transcriptionist for grand jury, so we retain them. Currently, we have someone who I believe has now surpassed 40 years of doing grand jury transcripts for this county, I believe. And so what I did is I created an update, which you'll see on the second to the last page, as a suggestion for the new resolution, including putting in a cost cap. So when we have grand jury, our transcriptionists charge an appearance fee, and then they do a per page fee. If you look at the heading on the second to the last page, you'll see it says, whereas New York passed criminal justice reforms, including criminal procedure law section 245.20 sub B, which in part requires the district attorney to provide all transcripts of the testimony of a person who has testified before a grand jury. So now it's a legal obligation that wasn't necessarily there before. We must get all of those transcribed. So this is really addressing that circumstance where you're hiring a transcriptionist for a unique case, either grand jury, or perhaps there might be other things in the office. This is not looking at court transcriptionists. And what we did is I put a cost that's above our current fee for both appearance and for rates, so that we wouldn't immediately have to come back if there was any change in our costs, or if we for some reason couldn't have our 40-year transcriptionist, who I think is very good to us, and we had to retain someone else. I wanted to have a little wiggle room there to do that.
Motion to bring it to the floor, number 14, request to amend Resolution 556 of 2003, made by Supervisor Driscoll, seconded by Supervisor Shepler. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, let's vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None. Motion carries. County Administrator Moore.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have looked at this while we were doing it, but I think I think there's an error in one of these salary change resolutions.
Okay.
The third assistant, that salary is already 85,394. I believe we wanted to do the fourth assistant. No?
Let me think. So we have, currently we have 2 grade 4s. So the person who's moving into that third is becoming a 4, a grade 4. And that's why the change, I believe, was occurring on that position. So in other words, our attorney 2 is a 4, and the person that was a 4 is going into 3 and going from a grade 3 to a grade 4. That's why it made that change, I believe.
The current fourth assistant is becoming the third assistant,
Correct.
going from a 3 to a 4.
Right.
But the increment on that individual is a 3. The third increment is 85,394, and that's the salary that third assistant DA is already set at.
Okay, so I guess it's not a change for the position. It's just the person entering that will see the change. There's actually no increase at the position. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. Let me just give you the salaries of the positions as they are now and what they're going to. The second assistant, 85,394, same. The third assistant, 85,394, stays the same. The fourth assistant, the current salary, I believe, is 75,570. And we would be amending that to 74,089. That's the piece that I think we missed. And I apologize for not following this more closely in real time as we were doing it. And then the salary for the fifth assistant is currently 74,089, and we're changing it to 69,891. That one we did correctly just now.
That's right.
And then the sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth are all at the entry salary, 66,563.
So what I'd like to do, I follow what you're saying here. Occasionally my brain would go to the person and not the position.
Yeah.
So in reality, there's no increase in the position at all. And that's why we see a decrease in cost to the county. So I'd like to amend that. So where you see number 7, salary schedule for the person in the third assistant position, the reality is it's going to be the fourth assistant position. And we'll have to put up that paperwork with the corrected figure for you, which would be, there's no way to give you a page, but
Yeah. So if you look in your packet, that third assistant salary, 85,394, it's already there. So what you do, just cross out fourth assistant, and we're going to amend the fourth assistant's salary to $74,089.
which I believe is for the person is not a change. For the position, it's a slight decrease, if I understand correctly.
That's correct.
And that's just so we're clear, that's not the administrator's fault. That's the DA's fault.
Oh, it's confusing. Nobody's fault. I should have looked at it more closely. I apologize.
So are we looking at specifically number 7?
Specifically number 7, correct.
Okay.
So number 7, rather than amending the salary for the third assistant, we amend the salary for the fourth assistant. The compensation schedule lists a salary for a position title.
Okay.
And unless the Board of Supervisors amends the compensation schedule, the treasurer is going to be paying the salary that's in that schedule. So because you have an individual moving into this slot who has a slightly lesser step than the individual who departed this slot was in the third position, and this individual's in the second position. So That's why you amend the salary downwards from 75,570, which is the salary that payroll currently has authority to pay. And we amend it down to 74,089.
That's right.
Sorry.
Oh, that's, again, that was my mistake. I'm thinking of the individual and not the position on that one.
And it's no INT, right?
Well, that one's on me. So that's why there's actually, and it seems odd that you're seeing people moving up and yet the cost is going down. Because when you go in, some people are moving into positions where they're costing slightly less than someone that was already there. For now, and then obviously these might be things that are talked about in the budget process.
All right.
Do we need to read
A motion to rescind request number 7. Supervisor Stroud, is there a second? Supervisor Shepler, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, now we'll come back with an amended number 7, amend to the salary schedule. Intent to amend the salary schedule of the promoted 4th assistant district attorney to 74,089. Supervisor Stroud on the motion and Supervisor Shepler. And did you have a discussion?
Just to be clear, and you did make that clear about the 4th assistant attorney salary being changed from 69,891 to 74,089, and that the 3rd assistant district attorney will stay the same as it is now, which is 85,394. And then the 5th assistant attorney will be 69,891, and the other 5th and 6th and 7th will all be 66,563. Okay.
That's correct. What's happening here is you have two individuals who jump up a grade, so those individuals are getting a raise, but they're less senior than the individuals who departed those positions. So the salary, yeah, exactly.
Is that clear? Okay. We have a first and a second on the motion to amend request number 7, amend the salary schedule. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you for catching that,
Yeah,
Ryan.
good catch.
Thank you for explaining that, Jason. And do we finish up with number 14?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Any discussion items?
Not for me, no.
Okay, well, good. I think we've covered it all then, right?
Okay.
Good.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, Ryan.
Paula.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the Public Defender's Office. Public Defender Flores, you have the floor.
Great, thank you. My first item is there's a new RFP for family court. It's our first family court RFP from ILS, Office of Indigent Legal Services. I can't tell you the amount because we don't know it. It's a competitive grant depending on how many counties, depending on how many counties apply. We'll figure out how much money we get, but I want permission to do this. I have spoken to
Pull your screen down so that we can see up on Zoom as well.
Oh,
for
this.
this,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
sorry.
There we go.
Jason's tall.
Yeah, I know.
He's way up here. I'm really short. So now you can see me. So I'm very excited about this. It's an RFP for family court. We've never had one. I have spoken, good morning, to the assigned counsel office. They are also going to be applying with this RFP. So I'm applying on behalf of both of us. The reason why this had to be added for today is because the final paperwork is due on the same day as the board meeting that hopefully this will be approved on. So my office and the assigned counsel office are going to assume that the county is going to allow us to apply for these funds. It is no county funding, it's all state funding. That's why I'm talking about number 1.
Okay. Bring it to the floor. Supervisor Stroud, second by Supervisor Shepler. Any discussion? Call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None. Motion carries.
Thank
Number 2.
Number 2, there is federal reimbursement for the public defender's office and the assigned counsel office, potentially under this Title IV reimbursement. I have spoken to the assigned council office. They would like to get in on this if they can. The problem with this process is everything has to be done by April of 2022. So what we need today is permission to engage in a memorandum of understanding with the county and ILS. ILS is the agency that's going to oversee and review the plans. It's for quality improvement for family court.
Okay, motion to bring to the floor, Supervisor Strauss, Supervisor Shepler.
We don't know how much money is involved yet. They're
Okay,
going to be looking for statistics from our office and the assigned council office about the number of petitions, what happened on things. There's a lot of documentation that my office will have to get and the assigned council office will have to get in order to do this. But I wanted to put this before you today so that we can get this memorandum of understanding going so that we can then get it to ILS because they are overseeing the reimbursement of funds and the quality improvement.
thank you. And when it says here for independent legal representation, what does that mean?
That means the public defender's office or the attorneys who are assigned through the assigned counsel office. It is not for private attorneys. If you hire your own attorney, that attorney is not getting reimbursed. It's for indigent clients.
Okay. Oh. We bring this to the floor yet? So we have a first and a second. Any further discussion?
No.
Oh, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Number 3.
Number three is we had funds left over in distribution 8 that we couldn't use. And your first question should be to me, why do you have funds left over? And the answer is when we do these distributions and these grants, we put in for funds based on the information we have in front of us. And then after we did distribution 8, then Harrell Herring came out. And so the funds that normally we would have put in 8 went into Harrell Herring because that's a civil lawsuit. And I'm trying to put everything into there so that the state can't pull it back. A distribution, the state could eventually say, we're not doing it anymore. So I want everything that I possibly can in Harrell Herring so that we will continue to get that funding. So with that being said, we had extra money left over in distribution 8. We spoke to ILS. They indicated if we use this money this year, we can use it for technology. I say that's absolutely fantastic for us because of with the e-discovery, we have to get our own servers. And so we have figured out a way to pay for our servers and for servicing those for the next 5 years, plus printers and copiers, the whole printer, scanner, copier thing for that new space we want to lease in the 333 Glen. So with all this money, we have to use it by the end of this year. So I'm asking permission to modify number 8 to go into technology stuff. So all the funds go into technology. We spend it this year and we use all the state funding.
Motion to bring it to the floor. Supervisor Strauss, second by Supervisor Shepler. Discussion. And then is this part of a consolidation of these distributions? into
What
categories?
happens is a distribution rolls over. So 8 has now become 11. And so under 11, we're going to use those funds for other things, not for the technology piece, because we won't need that.
Okay,
It's very complicated. Each distribution is for 3 years, but again, they don't always start on the date that they say they'd start. We usually get the funds a year later. So the math is very complicated for me.
so that's why you have Aaron.
That's why I have Erin, and she does me.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None. Motion carries.
Okay, I would like to do number 4 and 5 together.
Okay,
This is to create a new position, a legal clerk, and that we have funding from distribution 11. Remember how we just talked about 8 becomes 11? So now we have funds in 11 for a legal clerk. So I'd like to create the position and fill the position, obviously, when that's appropriate. So we put in the date as October 1st, because I don't see that happening before then. And again, no county money being spent.
motion to bring it to the floor. Supervisor Strauss, second by Supervisor Shepler. Discussion. And these positions exist as long as there's ILS
Right.
funding behind them.
Correct. It's only while there's ILS funding.
Yeah. Okay. Any, no other discussion on these items here? Then we'll call the question. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None. And I'm sorry, that was for 4 and 5, correct? Yes. I get a nod there from the motioners.
Okay.
Number 6.
Okay, number 6, this is all deals with the next few ones are 333 Glen. When we had the negotiations with that facility with the county attorney's office, we did not include as an error the janitorial services. So since we haven't moved into the building and the lease hasn't been signed yet, I would like the janitorial services to be included in the lease. Again, it's all paid by ILS funding.
Motion bring it to the floor. Supervisor Strauss, Supervisor Shepler on second. Questions? And this brings it up to what, 1,300?
Approximately, yes, sir.
1,300 a month. And do you have a date for?
We're hoping for October 1st.
Okay. No other discussion? Call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None. Number 6 carries.
Okay, number 7, again, deals with 333 Glen Street. It is for the lease space for internet services. Again, we have to pay for that. That is all going to be through ILS funding, no county funding. And that was not put in the original lease, so we'd like that added.
And number 8,
Number 8 is printers. Again, as I requested under one of the other prior ones, when we talked about number 3, which is modifying distribution 8, some of the money for the printer we need for this building. So that's what number 8 is. So if you want to take number 7 and 8 together, certainly I would, if that's what you'd like, that'd be great.
somebody like to bring 7 and 8 together? Yeah, Supervisor Driscoll, second by Supervisor Shepler. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None. 7 and 8 carry. Number
Okay.
9.
The last one is a CLE, continuing legal education for, and will be our first one that goes out of state if COVID allows us to go out of state. Brian Plasky, my first assistant, would like to attend this. All the funding would be paid for by ILS. There is no county funding involved. It is a program when you have senior attorneys, it is hard to find local programs that deal with the issues to improve them. A lot of the local CLEs deal with a specific legal argument, but this one deals with how to become a better trial attorney for a jury trial. So this is a really good program. Only one of us could travel, and I did the last travel, so he's up.
Okay. Motion to bring it to the floor. Supervisor Shepler on first and second by Supervisor Driscoll. Any questions? And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None. Number 9 carries.
That's it. And I didn't have any discussion items left. We
Okay.
discussed everything.
Just one quick question. With all the ILS funding, about what percentage of your department does that cover?
A large percentage. I can't do math.
100%.
No, it isn't. I know it isn't, but it's a large percentage. Without ILS, we would be devastated. And so I appreciate their funding, and I appreciate the county allowing us to use that funding. Not all counties do that. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me, but I really appreciate it, and I thank you all for it very much.
Well, you're welcome. And my first thought is some counties might not because you have the DA on the other side of
Yeah.
things that doesn't have the state funding that
Yes.
kind of needs to keep up.
Yeah.
And how do you do all that? So,
Yeah.
but who knows why you went.
Yeah, and I really appreciate everybody allowing us to use all the ILS funding and apply for the grants and apply for the memorandums of understanding. It really makes a difference, and my clients greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you, Marcia. Thank you, Aaron. The assigned counsel will be showing up at the Finance Committee. The assigned counsel department head is not available today. With no other business to come before the Criminal Justice Committee, motion to adjourn. Supervisor Strauss, Supervisor Driscoll, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned.